We're with Alex Steward of the field hockey team. Eastern about 2/3 of the way through its season. Alex, talk about the season so far.
Well, coming into preseason, I was really impressed with the team. I think that we have a lot of talent, not only from incoming freshmen, but the returners worked very hard this summer to improve what skills we had last year. I think we're extremely dedicated and we have so much heart on the team. All of the girls, field hockey is everyone's life. Like, on and off the field, we're talking about field hockey. We're always trying to see what we can do better to get us farther towards LACs.
Well, you talked about, we were talking before, you talked about how hard the team worked in the off-season in the summer. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we do the Nutmeg games together. We set up this past summer, we set up 2 teams, and we invited the freshmen to come so that they could just get a feel of how it is to play with us. And there, we knew right then and there that we were going to be really great this year. We had such good chemistry, and the freshmen coming on, it was like they've been here with us for like 3 years. Like, we've been playing together since high school. I think we really just connect well, and we take our summer pre-workout packets very, very seriously, and we are constantly playing with the ball during the summer, running during the summer. It's the heart, it's the desire to get to LACs that pushed us to work for it this summer, not only in season but off season too.
Well, there's no possible way you guys can be successful really if you don't work in the summer, right? That's pretty much where you lay the foundation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because our preseason starts halfway through August, so we have from June to August to get our running in, get in shape. Some teams have like fall ball before they do that. We don't have that. We have the summer, so that's kind of our fall ball. We do the running, do the packets. We a bunch of girls. Some girls live near each other, so they have the opportunity to go down to a field together and just do like some passing. But I definitely think Nutmegs helped a lot, so we could see what we had.
Well, the team right now is about 500. You got 4 conference games left. Before the season started, if you looked and said, well, after 3/4 of the way through the year, we're going to be 500, would you have been happy with that?
Not at all. First couple games, we were so intense. Our intensity level was through the roof. There was one specific game where we scored like 4 goals in the first half. We had this thing where we said 3 minutes. You have to score in 3 minutes. And every 3 minutes we were scoring a goal, and it was just incredible. We had so much, we wanted those goals. We had so much drive and so much desire to get those goals. And during preseason, I wouldn't imagine that we were 500 at all. I thought we were going to come in here and just kill it. And I think we are killing it. I just think we hit a little rough patch for the last 2 weeks.
It's such a fine line, though, isn't it? Between winning and losing. Most of your games are 1 goal. Yeah. So you just need that little bit of an edge, probably.
Yeah, I think we're right there. We're really, offensively, we're right on the circle. We're taking those shots. We just need that extra. We just have to finish it. The extra reach, the extra tip, something. Get those goals in, tie it up, go into overtime. I don't care, but we can do it.
Well, you got 4 conference games left. One of them is against Keene State that leads the conference. But the other ones, including Worcester State and Western Connecticut, there's no reason why you can't win all those games.
Absolutely not. We are right there with them, skills-wise. Doesn't really show when you look at the standings right now, but last year our game against Westcom was a great game. Went into double overtime, I believe. It was very intense, and I think that it's going to be the same this year. I think that if we just put our minds to it and push through it, we're more than capable of winning those games.
Well, when you started last week, the week started out great. You played UMass Dartmouth, which is a team we hadn't beaten in a while, and they're one of the better teams in the conference. You guys went up 2-0, ended up losing 3-2, which was tough enough. But then you go up to Salem, and it seemed like that was just a very disappointing game. Talk about that whole scenario going up to Salem recently.
It was tough. It was a tough loss, definitely. We didn't really play our game the first half. But after halftime, meeting with coach, we all talked. We all put our input in the little circle. We talk about how we feel it's going and what we need to do to improve in the second half. And we came out in the second half. We did what we always do. We scored right there with 3 minutes. And I think we picked it up in the second half, but it just wasn't enough to come back from the first half.
Well, do you think a sign of a good team, a mature team, is a team that can overcome some odds? You know, it was a road game. You went up there, it was raining. The surface that you played on wasn't what you used to. Is that the sign of a good team, is to put that stuff behind you?
Definitely, and I think another sign of a good team is to not let anything get into your head, mentally to be tough as well as physically. I believe that those aspects might have affected us a little bit more than they should have, but ultimately it's just field hockey, and like, yeah, it might be raining, it could be on grass, could be on turf, could be on concrete. Like, it's field hockey, and I think we need to realize that a little.
Well, let's talk a little bit. I don't even think we mentioned at the outset that you are a defensive player. Now, we all know that the offensive players get all the glory, right? That's all the only names you ever see, right? Or when someone scores a goal, or maybe the goalie too. But talk about the defense. I know you're a sophomore. Sam Scavo, the goalie, is a sophomore. Talk about the makeup of the defensive team.
Okay, so we have Sam Scavo, who's the goalie. Myself, I'm sweeper. We have Katie Jankura on the left and Jess Oliveira on the right. We also have Mackenzie Brower, who's like our midfield back. Mm-hmm. And she goes up and back. She's constantly sprinting.
Like you.
Yeah, she's
right.
She's a little warrior. We switch on and off, so if I get the ball and want to take it upfield, Mac will drop back for me and play my position for a little bit. And so we work very well in the sense that, like, she knows when to drop. I know when to drop. We have that communication on the field, and sometimes we don't even need to talk. We just know. So I think Mac and I click very well on the field. As for the rest of them, Jess, Sam, and I all started really starting the games last year.
Yeah.
We Jess didn't play as much her freshman year, but then started playing like every single game towards the end of last season.
Really improved, yeah.
Yeah. And so we've all been working with each other for a year now, and we know where to go. I know if Jess is going to drop back, and I know when I need to drop back. And so Sam's always very talkative, so if there is a miscommunication, we can pick it up. But working together, us three, that from last year, that's definitely an asset to our defensive line. And then Katie, she played defense at Guilford High, and she's just a very good player. She clicked with us. It was so natural. We didn't even question it at all. She's a very patient defensive player, and she waits for somebody else to mess up, and she'll get right in there and steal the ball. And so I think our defensive line is very solid. We haven't let more than 2 goals in a game, something like that.
Yeah.
But
only a few times.
Yeah, only twice, something like that. So, yeah, I think we have a very solid defensive line, and Sam's the backbone of that. She's absolutely willing to do whatever she has to do to keep the ball out of the goal. Sam has a saying. She says, "You let it hit you before you let it in the goal." It's a bruise versus a goal. So
I don't think people realize that how I don't know if you want to use the word dangerous, but between the sticks and the ball, that ball's like a cue ball. Yeah. You must. Do you have a lot of bumps? Do you have a lot of black and blue? Do the players have black and blue?
Katie had a wicked bruise. It was the size of like a volleyball on her inner thigh. Jess has bruises all the time. She saves so many balls with her legs. It's ridiculous. So, yeah.
And how about Jess? I mean, Jess had a black eye. That didn't come from the ball. It came from the stick. And then Mackenzie Brower missed a couple of games with a concussion. So it's a much more of a physical game than people would think.
Very. You just have to be fearless. You can't worry about it, because then you're not going to play your game. You get hit with the ball, you get a little bruise. It'll get better.
It'll heal.
Yeah.
You talked about Katie Jankura as a freshman, and you came in as a freshman last year. But the funny thing is, you came in as a pretty big offensive player in high school. What are the major differences between high school and college ball?
At first, it's very intimidating. I remember looking at my captains last year and thinking they were like D1 players. I was like, they are so good. Like,
and it's only
nothing
Division
like
III.
High school. Yeah. And so I was very intimidated at first. But once you get on the field and you get to start working with those girls and you get into a couple scrimmages, a couple games, ultimately it's just field hockey, no matter like what position you're playing. Like, I played offense in high school, but playing defense is the same as playing offense, just farther back on the field.
Yeah.
So it's the same game as high school, but you can't mentally you have to realize that. You can't let the fact that it's a collegiate sport versus a high school sport get into your head.
But is the level of competition that much better? You played in a pretty competitive conference in high school, but it was sort of smaller schools, right? Class M and S.
Yeah.
Is the level that much higher now that you're used to it?
I think it's all of the best players from every high school. That's who we're playing against. And so I feel that everyone on my team is right up to par with Sam, Jess, everyone. They're all like on the same level, and same with like Dartmouth. They were all the best at their high school.
Yeah.
We're all the best at our high school, so.
Well, this is a very young team. It's the nucleus is basically freshmen and sophomores. But do you want to hear people saying, "Well, you got everyone back next year, so if you don't do it this year, get into the playoffs, you can do it next year"? I would have to think that that's something you really don't want to look at.
Definitely not. I 100% believe we can make playoffs this year, and yeah, it's going to be nice to make it next year because we're not losing any starters, but I don't want to wait till next year. I want to do it now. I think the whole team wants to do it now. We came into this season saying we're going to make playoffs. Like, that was our number one goal, and so that's most important, and we're going to do it this year, not next year.
Well, last question, Alex. We've been talking a lot about the conference, but in a couple of days you have Conn College coming up. A team that Eastern beat last year for the first time ever. You probably didn't know that because you were a freshman, but we had never beaten them. I would have to think they're going to be out for blood this time, maybe.
I would imagine.
You guys ready to go with that one?
Yeah, definitely. I would imagine they're out for blood. I had no clue. Absolutely no clue that we had never beaten them, but when we got off the field, Coach was extremely pumped that we beat them. It's definitely a winnable game, and we just have to go out there and we have to play Eastern field hockey. We have to go do what we do best, and I think if we play our game and we're on our game on Wednesday, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind we can beat them again.
Well, Alex, thank you very much for your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. You're welcome.